Erin,
All
take it
right.
away.
Everyone seeing the slides? Yep. Okay. All right. The countdown is on, guys. We are going to go live with Workday for Finance and HR on July 1. That is right around the corner. So for today's town hall, we are going to go through all of the key dates. You've been receiving these in emails, in the newsletter, in the digest. We know it's a lot of information, a lot of dates to keep track of. So we're going to go through each date so you know kind of what's coming. And then we're going to talk about training, what's available, and what's coming. And then we'll also do, of course, the Q&A, the most important part at the end. So I'm going to run through everything to make sure we have enough time. So if you have questions about anything I'm talking about, please just drop your question in the chat, and we will get to that as soon as we get to the Q&A portion. Before we dive in, just a reminder on where to find information. The Workday website is our hub of all information. It's our newsletter archive, our recent activities, our FAQ, contact information, change network listing. All of that is going to be on the Workday website. So if you ever feel like you've missed an email or a digest post or something like that, you can go to the website and all that information lives there. We have also sent out quite a few emails. We're trying to combine as many as possible and not just flood you with emails. So anytime you get an update from the Workday project team, those are important to read, as well as our newsletters. We will be sending out a special edition newsletter, so not the typical one that you get monthly. There will be one going out this afternoon that basically recaps what we're talking about in this town hall. So it's going to be focused on the key dates. The digest is really important to pay attention to because we're posting a lot of reminders there. So as we approach these key dates, all of those reminders are going to be in the digest, as well as new trainings as they roll out, they get posted there. We, as always, encourage you to ask questions. So you can email workdayproject@wm.edu. You can ask your change ambassador, and of course, attend our Q&As and town halls. Okay, so let's dive into the key dates. The first one being yesterday. So yesterday was the final day to submit new requisitions and purchase orders in by W&M. Yesterday, also access to direct deposit banner 9 and W-4 tax exemptions and allowances and electronic VA-4 submissions ended yesterday at 5 p.m. So hopefully you saw those announcements in the digest and in the communication that was sent out from HR. All right, June 10th, so today is the last day that new hires in progress in People Admin can start work, and that's with an already approved exemption form. UHR transactions effective June 10, such as EPAFs, terminations and clearances, stipends, bonuses, must be fully approved and submitted to HR by today at 5 p.m. All right, tomorrow is when the hiring suspension begins. So that runs from June 11th to June 30th. We cannot have any new hires during this period. New temp and hourly positions can start on July 1, be scheduled to start on July 1, and new full-time positions can start on July 10th. All right, a lot happening on June 12th. So non-PO invoices, including direct pays, reimbursements and refunds, and honorarium invoices. The invoices must be approved in the AP workflow by June 12th to be paid in fiscal year 25. Following this date, by W&M will be down until Workday goes live on July 1. June 12th is also the final date for wire payments for travel expenses to foreign non-William & Mary affiliates via by W&M. It's also the last day to book travel with Covington before a pause until July 1. So for travel between July 13th and June 30th, use your department small purchase charge card for payout of pocket and submit reimbursement after travel. Starting July 1, an approved spend authorization in Workday is required to book with Covington. June 13th, deadline for submitting Chrome River expense reports to guarantee processing within the current fiscal year. Reports submitted after this date or not fully processed for reimbursement must be resubmitted in Workday starting July 1. Travel pre-approvals, whereas the associated expense report will not be processed by the deadline, must be resubmitted in Workday starting July 1. June 15th, all PO invoices must have receiving entered and exported to Banner by June 15th to be paid in fiscal year 25. Following this date, by W9 will be down until Workday goes live July 1. June 16th. Now, this information is going to be coming out tomorrow from HR and payroll. So this is just some advance notice for you all. But hourly non-exempt employees need to submit their timesheets ahead of time for the pay period June 10th to the 24th. So this is similar to what we do before the holiday break, where we kind of forecast our time. So this is going to be important for our hourly and temp employees to know about, and for supervisors of hourly and temp employees to make sure that they are submitting those timesheets ahead of time and that you are approving them. So that is June 16th at 6 p.m. June 17th at 10 a.m. is when supervisors of hourly non-exempt employees must approve timesheets. And also going back to this June 16th date, because I'm sure a lot of you are wondering what salaried employees should do. So salaried, exempt, and non-exempt employees will not submit a timesheet for June 10th to the 24th pay period, and will record any leave they took retroactively in Workday once we're live. So again, additional guidance is going to come out from UHR and payroll tomorrow that's going to cover all of this. It will also be on the Workday website. But this is very important for our hourly employees. Okay, June 24th, cash advances tied to an expense report not processed by this date will require the expense report to be submitted in Workday. The employee will need to repay the full cash advance directly to the cashier's office. Requests for cash advances for travel between July 4th and 7th must be submitted by June 24th, even if outside the standard 10-day window. So you can contact the travel team, and I think they're on this call as well, for help with exception requests. The expense report will be completed in Workday, and repayment of the full cash advance to the cashier's office will be necessary. June 25th will start the TouchNet to Banner environment blackout. So, and I know a lot of folks probably don't know exactly what TouchNet is, so we're going to talk through the services that will be affected by the cutover of TouchNet to Workday. So that'll be from June 26th to June 30th. So this is going to include the Campus Recreation Fusion portal, so any payments for services, the Office of the Arts ticketing, graduation application payments, online payment for parking citations, online payment of invoices, conference registrations, and online purchase of various goods and services through TouchNet Use Store. And then on July 1, we are going to be live in Workday. So those are the key dates that you all have been receiving through the digest, through email. We wanted to go through them one by one to make sure everyone was up to date on what is happening and when. Again, you're going to receive that special edition newsletter this afternoon that's going to have all of those dates and all that information. All of it already lives on the Workday website except for the timesheet guidance, which will be added tomorrow.
Erin, are we going to hop right into training before questions on the dates? Yes?
We can pause. We can pause and do date questions if you want.
No, I want the training information out there, but when we get back to questions at the end of training, and the reason I'm making that choice, folks, is so those people who don't have questions but want to hear about training can do that, and then we'll circle back. But if you don't mind, let's have the PowerPoint ready so that as we talk through specific questions about dates, we can have that in front of us. Yeah. And so we have that context. Thank you for that. Okay, yep. Training, exciting.
Training. All right, I'm actually going to stop sharing the PowerPoint so I can show you information on the actual website. So let me stop sharing in the PowerPoint. Okay, so this is the Workday website. Hopefully you all have seen this by now. And right here at the top is our training information. So when you click into the training information, you immediately get a content button that will take you over to the Workday Launch website. That's where we are housing all of our job aids and our micro-learning videos. There's some information on the training rollout plan here. and then direct links into the job aids, microlearning videos, launch website, and preview tenant here. Hopefully you all saw on Friday that we did give access to the preview tenant to everyone on Friday. So you all are now able to go in there and poke around. I want to show you the launch website. So under Workday Resources, hopefully you've seen some of these already. We have the banner to Workday Terminology Crosswalk, the Workday Glossary, the job aids. So you will need to log in. And these are the different buckets of job aids. So all of the basic job aids are available now. So you can go in there and review those. I know that the grants job aids are now in here. So if you work with grants at all, you can go in there and review those job aids. We've added some for HCM here. So if you want to learn how to create a position or enter your time, those job aids are here as well. So you can go in and review those. We are still in the process of developing job aids. They're being rolled out weekly. There's already a lot there, but definitely more to come. We also have the Workday Microlearning series. So what we have so far here is how to navigate the Workday homepage. You can watch that video. And we also have information on accessing the Workday mobile app. You just want to make sure that if you do plan to download the app, wait until July 1st to make sure that you are connecting to the Workday production and not the test tenant. So you can watch this video, but we don't recommend downloading it before the 1st. Okay, there's also the Workday reporting crosswalk and information on security roles. Access to the preview tenant is also available here on the launch website, but you can always get that from the training page right here as well. Right? So let's get back to presentation. All right, sorry. Okay, so that was the training page. You know how to find the launch website, you know where the job aids and microlearnings are, and how to access the preview tenant. Coming soon, we will have webinars scheduled as well as in-person sessions. We're scheduling out several sessions on entering time beginning July 2nd. So right after go live, we're going to have 2 sessions per day that we are having training. So all of those, that training calendar will be available soon, as well as a day 1 checklist. So all of that is in the works. All right, so we can go ahead to questions. Let me get to the chat.
We have the first one about tell us about submitting timesheets for salaried employees June 10th through 24th. So we used paper timesheets as one of the things we were most excited about with Workday, is that those go away. We're going to put that to the test right from the beginning for salaried employees. So for exempt and non-exempt salaried employees, we're going to just get paid. We're not going to record leave. Non-exempt will be compensated default earnings for that pay period. When we hop over to Workday, if you ended up taking leave during that window, June 10th through 24th, you're going to go to the prior pay period, a feature that's not available in Banner, and you're going to record your leave. Workday natively, without the payroll office or HR having to key manual timesheets or jump through 50 billion hoops to recalculate your benefits, Workday is going to do that catch up just as part of how it works. And so we'll record that retroactive leave or overtime hours. If you're non-exempt and you worked overtime during that period as a salaried employee, you'll record that. And then that will be your leave balance. The overtime will be paid in the next pay period. Did that answer your question, Lynn? And the actual mechanism for doing that past pay period, we'll have a job aid on that and training, but it's fairly intuitive in the system. It's a calendar presentation. There's drop down for the pay window. So you'll just go to that prior pay period and enter your leave instead of the current pay period. So cool new thing we don't have now. And that's it. Will part-time employees enter timesheets? So for our hourly workers, I might have to phone a friend. If we have salaried part-time employees, they're going to follow the same salaried answer that I just gave you. If they are hourly employees, you're going to record your time in Banner for that time period, and then we're going to move that time over to Workday.
All right, Corinne, I'm going to start with the first question after the one you just answered. So is there a test site that we can actually enter information now, or is that the preview tenant?
That's the preview tenant.
Right.
Yep.
All right. How a new hire, oh, sorry.
Take a note, team. So the preview tenant that we're giving you is meant for training. It is not meant for you to validate all of your data in every single config. It's a little bit earlier than our production tenant, which you're going to get your hands in on July 1st. So the purpose of that is for you to get comfortable with the application, to understand how Workday works. That's not the place where you're, that's not the go live tenant. So there are different areas that you're working in. So just so you have context of what you're looking at when you're in there.
All right. The next question is how new hires that start today, 6/10, will update their direct deposit.
Say that one more time. I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
How new hires that start today, since direct deposit is now no longer available starting yesterday, how will they update their direct deposit?
They should contact the payroll office, right, Corinne?
Yep, exactly.
Yep. All right. Do we have a crosswalk available for Banner accounts to Workday revenue category and or spend category?
June 20th is our target for putting some of those additional crosswalks out on the launch website.
Shannon wants to know when this recording will be available. Should be right after the meeting, as soon as it's processed. Let's see. So we won't be submitting timesheets every 2 weeks like we usually do. That's a question.
Oh, you will. So it's the only exception is this turnover period that we're in right now as we hop over to Workday. Once we're in Workday, the timesheets will be just like they always have been. So we have the same cadence and processes for submitting and supervisor approvals that we have now. So the guidance we're putting out is very specific to this pay period of June 10th to June 24th.
Corinne, is it also in reference to, we now have the capability to request leave versus putting in time after the fact?
I'm not sure if that's what Mackenzie meant. What Shulin is referring to is Workday also has a built-in leave request process that we're encouraging. You'll hear about that in training. We have not made any policy decisions on that as a university, but what it allows you to do is rather than sending your supervisor an email like, hey, dude, can I take these days off? You can do that right in Workday and do a leave request for a period in advance. And if that's approved by your supervisor, that gets moved to your timesheet without you having to do anything extra. And then if you realize like, oh, I didn't end up taking the day off because my kid hurt his leg and he couldn't run in the state track meet, then you can go and delete that. But so you still have control over it. But that is a feature that helps you if you happen to be delinquent and getting your timesheet done. That's a very nice feature to leverage is our leave request. And there will be a job aid on that and we'll introduce it in training. Thanks, Shulin.
Mm-hmm.
All right, payments through Campus Recreation's Fusion system will not be available June 26th to the 30th. What will happen after the 30th?
they'll kick back on and they'll look very similar to how they did before. So basically we're just changing some stuff on the back end, not the front end. And so rather than TouchNet linking through Banner as a payment, workflow, it'll be linking to Workday.
All right. How does this change affect student employees?
So student employees will be employees in Workday just like the rest of us. And so students will do their timesheet in Workday. They will get their paycheck processed in Workday, and they'll be employees in Workday. That's where they'll see their pay stub, and they'll do their tax withholding, and they'll get their W-2 and all the things, direct deposit. So everything that you're experiencing as an employee from a payroll perspective will be the same for our students. We do recognize that we have a lot of students here. We've got some special communication plan for students and their supervisors. We will have a lot of messaging kick up in August as we welcome a lot of new student workers to the workforce, and we'll have training and job aids geared for them as well.
All right. Well, non-exempt salary employees have to record their hours for June 10th to June 25th pay period after the fact if they did not take leave.
If they worked anything that wasn't default earnings, Kitty. So if we're going to pay them based on their default earnings schedule, if there was any deviation from that, yes, they'll have to go back. If there's no deviation, they don't have to go back.
All right. The calendar presentation sounds great, but will it be possible for delegates to access other employees' information? As office admin, I'm responsible for entering everyone's leave hours and types.
So Workday does allow you to delegate certain tasks. So that is similar to what we have now. And so we'll have job aids around delegation and communicate that. I'm not sure if we carried over any of those existing delegation relationships. That's actually on my list from another meeting to confirm. So we'll get back we'll put that as an FAQ once I have a good answer to that. It's multidimensional, so I don't really want to get into it in the call now because there's a lot of pieces that influence that. But delegation exists, so you'll be able to do those same tasks that you do now.
All right, and this was a clarification. So Yolanda asked, did you say stop by the payroll office for direct deposit? Yolanda, we said contact the payroll office for direct deposit. I don't know if we have anyone from payroll on the call, but I do want to say that we did get this question in the project inbox, and Simone said that for employees starting June 10th, their checks will be mailed to them for their first check, and then they will update their direct deposit information in Workday and can use that moving forward. But I would contact payroll and confirm that. All right. Has the issue with by WM not talking to Workday been fixed, and when will we receive our work tags?
So I didn't know there was an issue with them not talking. I thought it was just part of our implementation and integration work. So the team is working hard on building that integration to by WM from Workday, and we're testing that now. In terms of receiving your work tags, that's part of that FDM banner, football string that we're used to the new FDM structure that will be communicated. We hope to share some of that on June 20th. But when you're in the preview tenant, you can already start to look at some of that. So if you are in the preview tenant and you're looking, for your banner index number, if you search a banner index, Kathy, correct me if I'm wrong, but we're using that as some display text that will help you get to the right place in Workday.
That's correct.
Okay. When we enter individual vendors in by WM for registration, will they be added into Workday automatically, or will there be a box to check like there currently is for Chrome River for any reimbursements?
I don't know the answer to that.
I can take this. Can I take this?
Mm-hmm.
So for this, it's going to change. So if you are reimbursing for travel for a non-William Mary affiliate or guest, we will not be using that vendor create process and go through Jagger or by WM anymore. It will be going through a create external committee member process that we will have. Departments will be responsible for entering or submitting their own requests for guests to be paid in Workday for travel and non-travel.
Thanks,
And I
LaDonna.
can take the other piece of it. I did answer it in the chat. But Workday is essentially replacing Banner. So anything that's not travel related, they're just going to import into Workday like they currently do for Banner.
Thanks, Amber.
Thank you. All right, and Lauren shared a link to the IT YouTube where we do share all of these recordings. So just as an FYI, that's where the recording will be posted afterwards. Cynthia noticed something that we also noticed recently. So she's in the Workday preview tenant and sees the message, notify Cynthia Vincent of expiring time off for employees. Your time off balance has reached or is about to reach its limit. Please place a time off request so that your time off plan can continue to accrue. What does this mean, and is this real or practice?
It's the preview tenant. I'll make a note to check on that. I mean, we know at William & Mary we're not changing any of our leave accrual processes. So even though you hit your limit, that bucket keeps growing until it resets every January 10th, and we do lose leave if you don't use it. And so we'll take a look. Nick, if you're on the call, help me remember to take a look to see if we can edit the language in there. That's a great feedback, though, because I can see where that would cause confusion. But just be confident we're not changing any of our policies around that, your leave accrual buckets at this point. But it is a good reminder to take leave. We get those, I think, around July, halfway. HR often sends us like, hey, dude, you haven't taken vacation yet. You should think about it. Trust me, I think about it every day. No, I'm just kidding. All right, let's keep going, Erin.
Will the ability to go to prior pay periods continue to exist or only during the transition?
Forever. Built in. Yep. So I think the team set a year back limit. I mean, you're not going to go edit your timesheet from a year ago, but if you went on vacation and you missed the pay period, you'll have access to be able to do that. It's a great win.
Yep. Okay. A great question from Lisa. And Lisa, this is going to be included in all the guidance that we send out tomorrow from HR and payroll about the 10th to the 24th pay period. But Lisa asked for the pay period June 10th to June 25th. We do have an appreciation day for June 20th, and we also have a holiday for Juneteenth. Will that be included in our default pay, or do we have to add that day after the fact?
I'm pretty sure we're including that, but I'll double check that. Yeah,
I want to say that HR said that they were loading those dates in and that we won't need to do anything. Okay. Terry asked FDM. Terry, are you asking what does FDM stand for? Foundation Data Model?
Yep. So think of it as the accounting structure that Workday is built on. So with that data model of how they structure all the different components of our financial accounting and structure is now called the FDM. Banner used to have its own lingo, and now we're adopting some of the Workday lingo. There's a vocabulary linked on the launch website. That's a great resource to just start to get familiar with some of that. But instead of indexes and account codes and activity codes, now we've got work tags and drivers and the FDM. And so we're all kind of going through this new language together.
All right. Trevor asks if student employees still be paid on July 1 for the June 10th to 24th pay period?
Yes. So they're going to enter their timesheet and Banner like they always do. And we're going to get that timesheet data into Workday so they get their Workday paycheck. But I'll call out Trevor. So the communication that's going out tomorrow is telling those folks that they need to do their timesheet a little sooner, the deadline. So please, if you have student employees, make sure you call their attention to that too, because we don't want them to miss the deadline.
All right. Shannon asks for student employees, since they are hourly, will they also submit a timesheet if employed for summer for the upcoming pay period?
Yes.
Yes.
I just kind of covered that with Trevor,
Yeah.
Shannon. So again, if you were multitasking, make sure your students look at that email that goes out tomorrow so they understand the deadlines, but they're going to do their timesheet right in Banner for this pay period.
And for anyone who wants to learn more about the FDM, Lauren shared a link to a video in the chat. Let's see. Next, Kathy, is the communication between ByWM and Workday planned to be back and forth regularly? For example, if a student or employee changes address in Banner now, it does not update in ByWM automatically.
So, Kathy, do you know if the integration schedule is changing or if it's staying the same?
I believe it's staying the same.
That was my initial thought too. Mm-hmm. So the way that it works now, Kathy, is the way that will work going forward. The timing piece.
Let's see. So Candace said, just a clarification, will we no longer use ByWM for honorarium and speaker payments? Looking at the customer contract info on the financials page and wanted to check. I'm working on getting a lot of people into ByWM for December for payments and reimbursements, and I just want to know if I should wait at this point and just get them in Workday in July.
Amber, can you take that one?
Yeah, so honorariums will still continue in ByWM. We don't have any plans to not use them in that system. The only thing that's changing is if they do have to have a reimbursement, right? So if you're paying an honorarium, that goes through ByWM. But if they're also getting a travel reimbursement, then they have to be set up in Workday through the process so they can be reimbursed through expenses.
And so we'll have training and job aids on that to help you do
absolutely. That. Yeah. So if you have someone you need to pay an honorarium, I'd say like if you need to pay them now before July 1, you can get them registered in the system and start that process. If not, I would wait till July 1. But either way, they have to register now in both. They have to be registered in both systems. If you're going to get a reimbursement through expenses or get paid an honorarium through ByWM, they'll have to be in both systems. Hopefully that answered the question.
Thank you. She said thanks, so I'm taking that as a good sign.
Okay.
And Cynthia just wants to clarify, all notifications we see about entering time in the preview tenant are put there strictly for us to practice, correct?
Well, so I'm not going to say that. No, I appreciate you calling attention to the other one because I think the wording on that one creates confusion for our employees. And I'm 90% sure that's what that alert is going to look like in production. I'm not sure I can change it before July 1, but I'm probably going to try. So if you see others as you're going through that, I think we made available on the launch page a training question form that flows to our team. I'd love for you to catch some of those and put them there just so we can double check. Like, is that a preview tenant thing, or is that an opportunity for us to make the user experience more intuitive and clarify what's actually happening? And so that, if you fill that out, it's going to get dropped in front of the training team. We have our business expertise, our subject matter experts looking at those as well, and we'll try to bring clarity there. So thank you for that, Cynthia.
For separating or separated employees, how will they get their pay reports and W-2s?
Separated. How will they get their pay reports for W-2? So, Becca, we're having an outside vendor partner that's going to help with that for this first year while we have people in both systems. And then once we have a full calendar year in Workday, we're actually going to have a mechanism for people to get those out of Workday. So 2 answers for the short term and the long term, but both are covered. And so we'll have communications around those. And Cynthia, for your time for last week, that's probably related to data. So the data in this preview tenant is not super current because it is meant more for learning the application. So I disregard that part.
All right. Okay, we have another one. Piggybacking on integration queries, is there an overnight integration for the work that is processed on any given day? Is that updated in real time or at midnight or 9 a.m. the next business day?
So almost everything that's happening in Workday is real time in Workday. An example of that, if HR completes their business process for hiring an employee, that employee is going to show up on the supervisor's org chart as soon as HR clicks that button that they are hired. So that in similar, if we move money between accounts, on the finance side, that's going to show up in real time. There's no like overnight processing for most of that. If it's activity between an external system, the rate of change where you'll see those differences reflected in one side or the other, there's a lot of different answers there. So it kind of depends on the system. I'll give you an example. Door access. It's really important that we have data moving very regularly between our system of record of people and the door access system. So those integrations run like every 10 minutes. There's other integrations that from external systems where the external party maybe only give us an update once a day. And so we pull that into the system once a day. And so I'm not sure we have that documented anywhere. For the most part, a lot of those aren't changing. So what's happening, what you saw with Banner in that third-party system will be very similar with Workday. The big difference there is that activity that's happening in Workday is really going to be reflected in Workday real time. One cool thing to note, too, is the reporting that's built into Workday, unlike Click, which for those of you who use Click a lot, you've probably and been around a while, you've probably heard some of these things before, but we would have the transaction activity happening in Banner, and then that was an Oracle database behind that. We'd ship it over to another Oracle database called the ODS, and then Click would read out of the ODS, and so there was a lag there. The reports you're going to get right in Workday are reading from Workday in real time, so there's not a lag anymore, so that's pretty cool.
All right. Shannon has a student employee who worked for her in the spring and is returning for the summer after June 16th. Should they record the time worked after July 1?
Tell me the days. So the days that they're working, Shannon, that will be spelled out in the email. If they're working on the 16th through the 24th, they're going to forecast that on that 16th time sheet in Banner to get paid on July 1st. But if they aren't actually starting on the 16th, if they started on the 17th, they're going to miss that timesheet window, and then they'll have to do that in the next pay period and Workday retro.
Yep. All right. Kitty said that in the preview tenant, the leave balances are not correct. On July 1, will our leave balances be accurate?
Yes. Again, the preview tenant is focused on learning the application. It is not meant for data validation. Lots of the data that we're going through conversion and the gold build, that's happening now through the end of the month. Like those activities are ongoing. They haven't even completed yet.
And Ghana shared the questionnaire for questions related to training materials and the preview tenant in the chat. So that's also in the preview tenant under announcements. If you click that announcement, that has a link to the form, but you can grab it here in the chat as well. All right. Amber posted some clarification from a previous question. Lisa said, are there any new integrations with HR related to retirement contribution changes and the ability to make changes within Workday?
No, Lisa, those activities are still happening, like they happened on external sites. And so a lot of those still happen in external sites. Some of that is related to our relationship with those vendors and even with the state. Like Cardinal we get our benefits through the state of Virginia. So we're still going to use Cardinal to do those open enrollment type activities. And similarly with like our ORP and stuff, that's a lot of that activity is not coming into Workday. It's still be done in those external sites.
All right, that brings us to the end of the questions in chat. Feel free to post your question in chat or come off mute if you want to ask anything else.
What else we got, team?
Can I assume no one has travel questions? Because I have not gotten any. So that means you guys are all good with the dates. You understand everything, or am I going to get emails tomorrow?
I think we just got a travel question in the chat.
Okay.
Looking at the new travel training, how does per diem work in the Workday travel expense reports?
Looking at the new travel training, how does per diem work in Workday? It will work similar to how it works now. We call it Per Diem Wizard, and you will put in your 2 dates and your location and the other information that we require for per diem, and it will calculate the same.
Awesome. Thanks, LaDonna. You're so great. Just say that out loud.
Thank you. I'm just shocked I don't have more questions. So I guess my cutover dates made sense.
They're saving them up for the first time they have to travel.
Yes, I think that's what it is. Exactly what it is.
Which, if that happens to be, late in the fall to give us some growing room to fit into this new system, we'll take it.
Yeah.
All right, let's see, Mark. Said, thank you. No lag for my click reporting was what I was looking for. I'm working on streamlining financial reporting on the budgets I oversee. What is the file format for data exporting? For click, I export to Excel as an ODF, then format depending on the stakeholder I am providing an update for.
I don't know all the choices. I know there are several off because I looked at it once in there, Mark, but you can hop in the preview tenant now and take a look at that and poke around. The reporting is available in the preview tenant now. So we also have a crosswalk on the launch page, which will help you relate some of those click reports to the reports that are available in Workday. So take a look there. And Nick, I saw you with your hand up. If you've got an answer to hop in, please.
Yeah, so XLS, PDF, I believe, PowerPoint, and then you can also share internally with the system, so you can make permalinks and then share directly with other users. So lots of options.
Nice.
Yep, you can export to Excel, Corinne.
I figured that was one of the choices. I just didn't know all the others. Thank you.
No problem.
All right, and we have a hand up. Monique, do you want to come off mute?
Yes, I actually do have a question for LaDonna related to travel. So I work in university advancement. Our people are traveling all the time. For this interim period, would it be best for us to still, since we don't have to enter the pre-approvals anymore, or right now, would it be best to still have our supervisors approve a list of them and then enter them in Workday once that goes live, or do we still need to do the pre-approvals at all?
I don't think you would. That would be a departmental decision if you want to continue to add that additional task. But other than that, if they're not needing a pre-approval before July 1, I say wait till July 1 to save yourself the extra work and then just enter all spend authorizations in there on July 1.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Is Workday going to offer all the reports that currently exist in Click?
So natively, it covers a lot of them. There are some that it doesn't. And so we have a team working to create custom reports to get us real close to what we have available in Click. A lot of those will be available when we go live, but we'll be putting additional custom reports out over time, just like we matured into Click using it as our reporting system. The crosswalk is a great place to start looking at that. And I want everybody to be open-minded and spend some time looking at the preview tenant, even if field for field, the data isn't 100% because we're still going through conversion. But you can see what columns you're getting. You can see what the fields are that are on the various reports. Because the financial model is different, you're not going to see a report that has an index and an account code and an activity code because those aren't a thing. we now have this FDM, finance accounting module. So it's going to be all of our responsibility to think, not like, do I have this exact thing that I had in Click in Workday, but how did I use this Click report to help me accomplish my task or whatever I was solve whatever problem I was trying to solve, and then look at the Workday reports and say, okay, this gets me there. I can reconcile my budget using this. I'm not going to see an index on it because an index isn't a thing. And so you kind of have to approach it that way. And I encourage you, that's one of the reasons we really pushed to get the preview tenant out. I know it seems like we're almost at the finish line for you guys, but we've still got 3 weeks to go. So there's still a lot of work. And that's part of the value of releasing that now, knowing the data isn't spot on, is to give you time to do some of that evaluation independently. And start building those questions, jot them down for when we have our support system open, or send them to that training form that I just said. I'm going to really ask you to not reach out to our functional subject matter experts and business process owners right now with questions on training, because they're still very focused to get this system up by July 1st. So I want those questions. I just would like them on the form, not sending them to HR or finance right now. Let's give them the space to focus on the critical work that they still have to do to get us to the finish line. So be open-minded, look at those reports. I'm pretty sure with the 4,000 that Workday gives us, you're going to be 99% of where you need to be, and we'll solve for the gap over time. And it looks like Jones 211, my colleagues downstairs have a question.
Great, quick question. Are custom reports available in the preview tenant?
I don't know if we moved them, Marcus. Do you know the answer to that?
I'm not
whatever was in
sure.
Marcus, whatever was in gold, is in preview. So if you see something that you need there that's not there, just message me offline and we'll take care of that.
Will do. Thank you.
All right. And just a shout out from Kitty in the chat. Just thank you to the team. She knows we've been working long hours and appreciates the project team.
Thank you. And thank you for your patience with us. Still a long way to go. Like I said, I joke it's June 10th, July 1st is practically tomorrow, but we're going to make maximize every minute of the next 20 days to turn over the best product that we can for the campus. Be transparent. It changes. We're all learning here. So there will be bumps. We'll have a solid support system in place to help navigate those challenges as we encounter them. Lots of communication going out. That's your best resource and guide for information, is to read what we put out there, get in that preview tenant, spend some time just getting familiar with the clicks. So then when you have to do work in there for real, you're not looking at it for the first time. And we'll get through the next few months together.
All right, be on the lookout for that newsletter coming out this afternoon. That's going to have all of the dates and information we talked about today. We have one more question. Did someone say this recording will be posted onto YouTube? Yes, the IT YouTube page, the link is here in the chat, so you can find it there. All right, thank you, everyone. I hope you have a great day.
Thanks for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.